What is up, guys? Welcome back to CageChat MMA. We're here for, of course, the first event of the year. It's 2022. We're kicking off it with a fantastic striking bout between Giga Chikadze versus Calvin Kattar. Of course, Calvin Kattar kicked off last year's events with his fight against Max Holloway. That went very poorly for him. Of course, he showed his toughness, Boston strong. He showed fantastic heart, determination, grit in that fight. But Max Holloway completely outclassed him, and, we would have got the trilogy fight between him or between Volkanovski and Max Holloway some point earlier last year or later in the year in 2021, past Ortega and Volkanovski, which was meant to be scheduled at that point for March. But Calvin Kattar is going to come back, hopefully look to rebuild, look to resonate with the fans why he's top five in this featherweight division. We know his strengths, we know his very very talented boxer, very fantastic striker. He's a hard hitter, but I think Giga Chikadze is just a little bit harder of a hitter. I think Giga Chikadze hits definitely harder than Max Holloway, and the beating that Max Holloway put on Calvin Kattar. If Calvin Kattar, hopefully he's been away and he's worked on his defense, he's worked on his distance management. Of course, this is a very different fight to the Max Holloway proposition that he was dealt with. But I think if he goes into this sort of same mentality of I'll just take the punches and almost tire you out, draw you out, so to speak, I think Giga Chikadze could be in for a quite not an easy night, but maybe a quick night. We've seen his Giga kicks going around the internet this week. The one that put Cub Swanson away, they'll kick, direct to the leather. He's very tactile and very direct with those kicks, and he knows how to place them and cause the maximum amount of damage. I can see him doing the same to Calvin Kattar tonight. I can see him wearing that body. Of course, he's got a slight inch or height advantage, about 2-3 inches in height, or it might just be an inch actually. We'll have a look at the tape in a minute over the Boston finisher. But I do think he has got that capability, and I think he's probably the prospect in this division. If you were going to take out Max Holloway, I'd say probably is the most exciting to watch and probably the most likely to beat Volkanovski. Although Volkanovski seems to have raised his level a little bit since the Holloway 2 fight. Of course, he had a bit of a bit between his teeth to prove that he is the champion. A lot of people thinking Max Holloway beat him in one of the two of those fights, if not both. But yes. His last fight was a year to the day, Calvin Kattar. So what's that feeling going to be like going to the Apex? Of course, last time out he was in Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. But similar sort of environment, smaller cage. But of course, only 200-300 fans, if that, inside the actual arena. Before that he put Jamie Stephens and Dan Ige wins back to back in front of him. Of course, if you remember, this beat Magomed Sharipov. He was winning that third round, and many people thought had that fight originally been 5 rounds like it was supposed to be. I believe they brought it back down to 3 rounds because of Zabit being able at a time to go for 5 rounds. A lot of people thought had it gone in 5 rounds that Calvin Kattar would have beaten him, so therefore he would be on a 5-fight win streak at this point. But nope, he's 2-2 in his last 4. He does usually go the trends since that Hanato Moicano loss is 2 lose 1, win 2, lose 1, win 2. And now he's coming off that loss, so he's going to go on to win the next 2. Of course, Giga Chikadze on a fantastically long win streak now. Again, his last fight was that finish against Edson Barboza, and if you finish Edson Barboza, you're absolutely, you're an elite fighter, you're an elite presence, and I think, his name does stick out in this featherweight division. Obviously, you've got Arnold Allen in there, you've got Korean Zombie, who's going to be fighting for the title after Max Holloway had to withdraw from that third fight. You've got Brian Ortega, Rodriguez looking to heal up and come off their losses to Holloway and Volkanovski respectively. So this division, only got Josh Emmett, of course. Let's not forget Josh Emmett. So this division is sort of spark in a way. It's not quite ignited yet into the bantamweight division or the lightweight division, but it's getting there. Volkanovski's really coming into his own. You've got Holloway being I want to say the veteran in there, but he's only 31, if that. So he's still in his prime, really, but you still got a veteran trying to come back and prove his worth in there. You've got the guy in his prime in Volkanovski, and you've got the upcomers in Giga Chikadze, Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett, etc., all looking to lay throne, or lay their presence to the throne, so to speak. And obviously you've got the Korean Zombie and Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega, who are fan favourites. Fighters that are fun, that have built a name for themselves now. that can come in and have a great matchup with almost anyone. And of course, you got the return in Dan Hooker. Of course, it moved down to 145. So it's a division that's flourishing away at the moment. But yeah, Giga Chikadze obviously beat Cub Swanson and Zimbabwe. Are probably the two biggest wins on his record so far. But I think if he puts away Calvin Kattar tonight, which I believe he does, he definitely slides into that. I'd probably put him in that backup slot. That's become quite a popular thing since about late 2020, early 2020 maybe. You become a backup, so-called backup. You weigh in on the day, and I put Giga Chikadze maybe as backup for 273. Has been moved out in April. Should he get a quick win, of course, obviously it's a 5-round war, and he takes quite a bit of damage, comes away with the win. He's going to need to heal up and get 4, 5, 6 months out maybe. But if he gets in there and gets the job done, like I believe he will, quite unharmed, quite methodical, quite relentless from Giga Chikadze. I think he's going to be relentless tonight on the pressure and the damage he does to Calvin Kattar. And the thing is, Calvin Kattar's heart and determination is going to, maybe keep him in the fight for longer than maybe he should, similar to last year. But more kick-based plan from Chikadze than Max Holloway proposed last year. But if whoever wins tonight, I would say put him forward for that backup spot. So we've got Brian Ortega and Yair coming off losses. Obviously, Max Holloway can't make that date. But it would have been interesting. Of course, he's seen 2 months isn't ready for him. I wanted that April date that is now proposed would have been ready for him maybe. But of course, you don't want to bring back someone too soon. You don't want them to rush the recovery process. And of course, he's going to get the next shot. Or you might look at Brian Ortega and let's have Brian Ortega 2 or Dan Hooker. You could definitely say him. He's not going to say Max Holloway isn't someone who's going to say I'm not fighting until I get a title shot. He's there to prove he's the best in the division. We saw that after the Calvin Kattar fight. Many people thought and probably would have accepted him going I'm standing back and waiting to see what happens. But obviously he took that dangerous fight with Yair that almost backfired. But of course the former champ came through on that one. And let's have a look at the tape. Of course, we've got 22-5 against 14-2, 5-11 versus 6', 2-inch reach advantage and a half-inch leg reach advantage there for Chikadze. So coming in the taller and the longer man, and I think that's going to come out as a benefit to him. I do think he gets it done. I would say within 3, but I'd be more confident picking round 2 than round 3. I think he's going to put a good beating on him. Or I think it's going to be a fight that tests the waters in round 1. They try and work out where they always see where Calvin Kattar is after a year out of the cage. But I think then Chikadze is just going to pull away. He's obviously someone who isn't, quite fazed by the lights or the talk of the main event. Of course, it's his second main event now. He main evented with Barboza, of course. But yeah, I'm really big on Giga Chikadze and everything that Georgian MMA is providing us at the moment. It's becoming a hotbed for mixed martial arts, and you see a lot of talented fighters who are elite. Tapuria fighting next week, I believe, against Charles Jourdain. There's a lot happening in Georgia and Georgian MMA as a whole. It's become a real hotbed, and it's lovely to see the togetherness of that sort of nation. We don't see it in the UK because we're quite divided and quite territorial city based. We have a couple of the UK fighters that I think we're quite unanimously behind, but it's not the UK culture. We get almost behind them after their careers done, not in the peak of their careers. We're so divided with team sports and city rivalries. Like Dan Till probably won't get his props until he's retired from the whole nation, or Brendan Loughnane is in the PFL. Mancuso. I think a lot of people go through give love to Brendan Loughnane because of what happened to the UFC, and rightly so, and what he's done at PFL. But you see Leon Edwards is quite Birmingham centric, and in contrast, you see Georgian MMA, you see Irish MMA, you see the nation get behind Conor McGregor in his sort of build up into the start, and maybe less so now. You got Ian Gary bubbling away. They're always looking after their own, and I wish that we had it. Wales is starting to do it now as well with Jack Shaw, Mason Jones, Corey McKenna. So yeah, it does become a bit of an envy if you're a UK fight fan or an English fight fan, I guess. More so, I think it's more of an English thing. Again, the Scottish have got behind Joanne Calderwood, Paul Craig, and Casey O'Neill. So yeah, we just need to get into this sort of area where we're back in Paddy Pimblett, we're back in Leroy Murphy, we're back in Mokayev, we're back in Nathaniel Wood down in London, we're back in all these guys regardless of which city they come from or what team they support. Because I do think, especially I saw it in London with Cage Warriors, London still has that quite boxing thing. I don't think they've transitioned quite over to MMA at the moment. I think they're still in a boxing audience, partially down to Anthony Joshua and etc. with big fights at Wembley. But I think we're slowly turning up the notch now for MMA, city by city. I think Manchester's there. We obviously got 3 gyms, we've got Predators, you got SBG, and you got Manchester Top Team as well. But yeah, we just need to bring that up as a whole. But I do think Giga Chikadze is going to get the win tonight against Calvin Kattar. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Of course, we have got a bumpy month already. UFC 270 next week, of course, we're getting Garner versus Garner. That's going to be a tasty fight. But tonight, we've got Chase Sherman and Jake Collier in the co-main event. That's going to be a fantastic one. In the heavyweight division, you always get a nice barn burner, a heavyweight co-main event. And it's usually because and hopefully the card's been full paced, so you just need a little simmer down before we get to the main event. Obviously, before that, you got Brandon Rothell versus Rogero. Bontorin, of course, in the flyweight division. Brandon Rothell, 7 versus... I'm looking at topology here. The highly ranked contest in the flyweight division. Brandon Rothell looking to get back into title contention. Obviously, got Kai Kara France versus Askarov happening. I believe that's the next number 1 contender bout. But, a flashy knockout here and there from maybe Brandon Rothell or Bontorin could certainly push their chances to getting into title contention. Also looking to get into title contention is Jacqueline versus Jennifer Maia, of course. Both of these having fought the champion previously in a flyweight division that needs someone to step out from the cracks, I guess. Of course, we know how good Valentina Shevchenko is, but we need someone to step up now and almost do it. No, look at Juliana Pena. No one going into 269 was thinking, Julia Pena's going to come out the champion and she's going to put beating on Amanda Nunes, make Amanda Nunes tap. But she believed herself, she made it happen. And we need to see that in the flyweight division. I think as soon as that cage door closes, a lot of people see, it's Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to lose here. I think we saw it with, Jessica Andrade. I think we saw it again, Caitlin Chikadze, Laura Murphy. I think Jennifer Maia had that good first round, and then I think she had the win taken at herself for that first round, and then obviously Valentina Shevchenko, dominated from that. Personally, I'd like to see Shevchenko versus Rose Namajunas, and we will have the top 5 fights of 2022, but I would like to see Namajunas maybe go up to flyweight and test the waters there, but obviously she's got to fight Carla Esparza in the first 6 months of this year, so we'll work out what happens there. But again, Jennifer Maia versus Caitlin Chikadze, the winner, a victor here probably does get a rematch, just because of the lack of contenders there is. Obviously, there's Tyler Santos, but you don't want to rush Tyler Santos into a fight. You got Vivian Araujo, you got Joanne Wood, you got Andrea Lee. Of course, all fresh matchups for Shevchenko, but not quite there yet to fight for a title because of their position and because they've lost those names above them. They need to get back in the win column. You've got the likes of Casey O'Neill and Alexa Grasso and hopefully Macy Barber coming up. But again, a man on the road, let's not forget, she's been fantastic last year. But let's not push them in too quickly. We need to build them up and probably have them fight 3, 4, 5 times before they're ready to fight the champion. Let's not give them 2 wins and fight for the title. I think that's the problem in the heavyweight division. Because of a lack of contenders, a lack of stars like Taito Ivasa is in ranked 11th going to fight Derek Lewis is ranked 3rd. If Taito Ivasa knocks out Derek Lewis, you're going to be calling for him throughout the title shot, and he's probably not ready to fight in Ghana or Ghana. I'd say he's probably ready for more in Ghana just because of his stylistic matchups. Both of them have the power to knock each other out. But I would not like to see Taito Ivasa against Cyril Gahn right at this moment in time. Of course, Tuivasa's got that knockout power, but I think Cyril Gahn technically would outclass him. And I'd like to see, we saw Chris Dukowski go up against Derek Lewis and get knocked out because he wasn't quite ready. We saw Jairzinho Rosenstruck win and wasn't champion, put him out, get knocked out, get reset, and you sort of lose the wind in yourselves if you call far too up too quickly. And we see Tom Aspinall, running for opponents, but he's cracking away at the rankings one by one to learn his craft and to not get shot too far forward. But that time's coming for him. For Tom Aspinall, if he gets another win or 2 under his belt, very quick win as well. At that, but yeah, Caitlin Chikadze and Jennifer Maia is a fight that would be interesting to watch, and just to see what happens after when we see the results tomorrow, how we landscape this division. And of course, we've got Dakota Bush versus Vyacheslav Borshev, who's making his UFC debut. Borshev 5-1 in the lightweight division. We've got Joanderson Brito versus Biagio. Of course, Biagio having a good time with it so far. You know, he lost to Brendan Loughnane on the Contender Series, but since then, he's 2-2, beat Team Doolin in the CFFC, of course, but he's 1-2 in the UFC, having lost to Ricardo Lamas on Ricardo Ramos by decision, and having beaten Spike Carlisle, who had a fantastic win in both Bellator and Cage Warriors back end last. Actually, Spike Carlisle might have been October time last year, and then obviously he's fought in Bellator since. But yes, he's going to need to get another win under his belt, be 2-2 in the UFC, and hopefully keep his spot in there, because, you know, you always see once you go 1-3 and you've not been too impressive, you've not, you know, maybe have a highlight knockout, but you're 1-3, you might, you know, just save your chances because you're a fan favourite. But yeah, he definitely needs a win tonight. We've got Jamie Pickett versus Joseph Holmes. Ramirez, Brahim Marshall versus Court McGee. That could be a fun one. Court McGee is always a fun watch, as is Brian Kelleher and Kevin Groom in the 145-pound division. And of course, got TJ Brown versus Charles Rhodes that opened up the card probably about right now, or in about 5 minutes' time. This card did get a little bit decimated with COVID. I believe the Omicron the variant being a problem either in the UFC and in that part of the bubble. Sad one for us, losing Jacqueline Buckley versus Abdul, Razak Alhassan, two fantastic fighters, fun fighters to watch. Both got potentials to get knockout on the night bonuses and, you know, incredible, you know, highlight reels that go viral tomorrow morning. As you know, we saw Mikael Pereira versus Muslim Salikov also get taken away from this card. That would have been a fun one to watch. You got Jasmine Shadrudicius versus Kay Hansen getting rescheduled, of course. So yeah, it's one of those cards that unfortunately just did get a little bit decimated. But we've got 10 fights tonight, and, you know, you've got 3 or 4 there that, you know, should be, you know, ones to really have talking points tomorrow. And that I include that main event, Calvin Kattar, this Giga Chikadze, and I'm looking forward to seeing some violence. It's been 4 long weeks, especially if you're a football fan, and in particular a Manchester United fan. At least with the UFC or with MMA as a whole, you get that. If you get a disappointing loss in football or another sport, you have the UFC to fall back. Of course, in England, football's a very predominant busy period in between Christmas and New Year's, and having no MMA and UFC, you don't have that release when your team isn't performing. So yes, looking forward to seeing some violence tonight. Looking to see, hopefully, Giga Chikadze announces himself as a true title contender. I believe he will do. But again, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and we will be back for Punch and Brunch tomorrow to recap what's going on, and of course look back at 2021 as a whole. So yes, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to drop a like, comment your predictions down below, and I'll see you on the next video.